This is going to be a challenge for me because I am trying new things. I am expanding my horizons. And currently, we are going live on YouTube Live and TikTok Live the exact same time. We will see if my brain can keep up with this transition because I am going to keep looking back and forth. I know this already, but I'll try to focus in on one camera at a time when I speak so that everyone can keep up with me as well. So tonight is my first night going live on YouTube. Hello, hello, and welcome, YouTube. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Pull up a chair, sit down, and relax. If you're on TikTok tonight as well, thank you for being here with me. I've been live on TikTok so much more, but I've got to be honest with you guys. I'm finding out that more people look for true education and information and direction on YouTube. So I want to make sure that this information gets out on YouTube so that our brothers and sisters who are really looking for that information can find it just as easily as our brothers and sisters on TikTok. So if you're coming into the room for the first time or if you've been here before, hello and welcome. My name is D, and I am a 100% PNT rated veteran. And it is my goal, my mission, my purpose to make sure that every veteran gets the rating that they truly deserve. Now, I'll never say that every veteran deserves to be 100% PNT because I do not believe that to be the case. Some of us have had awesome careers, 10 years, 20 plus years, and I congratulate you for that. But for the rest of our brothers and sisters out there that need some true direction when it comes to dealing with the VA because their careers are not always spectacular, I ask you pull up a chair, sit down and relax. We're going to get into the thick of it tonight. Now, if you're coming in on TikTok, hey, where are you from? Where are you at in your VA journey? And if you are not a veteran, if you're a spouse, a family member, a caregiver, an advocate of a veteran, a friend, a co-worker of a veteran, thank you for your service as well because I know that you guys go overlooked and underappreciated every day. So thank you for your service as well because your sacrifice is just as important as ours. Now, as we get into it tonight, it's like, I'm looking at myself and I'm trying my best to focus, guys. So if you're asking questions on TikTok, hey, let's get into it. Let me know where you're from and what's going on because I want to make sure that you get the true rating that you deserve. And I'm finding out before when I was telling my veterans, hey, before you walk into a CMP exam, before you go talk to anyone at the VA, read a DBQ. Read the DBQ of the exam, the examination that you're getting ready to go take. But I got to be honest, I'm finding out as I talk to you guys, it's not just the issue of reading the DBQ, it's truly understanding the DBQ. What is the DBQ even talking about? And I guess if you have not truly dealt with the VA in the way of having to deal with DBQs, Frank, what up? What up, guys? Michael, Realtor Deb, as you come into the room, let me know where you're from. It's not the true issue of being of wanting to read it. Just stop. It's the actual problem of understanding what you're reading. So we're going to get into tonight understanding what you're reading when you're reading that VA DBQ. Because if you don't even understand what you're reading, what's the point of reading it in the first place? So we're going to dig down deep into it tonight, but we're actually going to focus in on one specific aspect. We'll get into it. I hope that you guys stick around with me tonight. Ask your questions. There's no stupid question. I promise you, no matter what you're going to ask, someone else has run into this problem as well. So please ask your questions. Please bring your issues and let me know. Let me know what's your overall rating so we can truly discuss how we can help get you to the rating that you deserve. So TikTok, YouTube, Hello. Thank you for being here with me tonight. As you come into the room, let me know where you're from. If you're from Georgia, I know a few of you out there are. What up, Mr. 2.0? What up, Mr. 2.0, guys? As you come into the room, let me know where you're at in your VA journey because we are on a journey with each other tonight. Can you hear me okay? Because I don't have my headphones on tonight. I normally have my headphones on when I'm talking to you guys, or at least the mic, but I don't have either one of those tonight. Doing it from both sides, the cameras, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it right. I'm good. Okay, appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you. I know on the YouTube side, maybe not so much, but the reason I bring that up is because my haircut. I got a horrible haircut out here the other day. I look like someone put the bowl on my head and just cut everything around. Even though I love Thailand and being out in Asia, you'll find out that some of the conveniences that we have in the States, we just don't have out here. And finding someone that can cut your hair and cut it right is kind of far and few in between. My barber, because of Eid this week, took the week off, and I should have gotten it cut last week. That's neither here nor there. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the three aspects of your mental health DBQ, the VA mental health PTSD DBQ. It is readily available on the VA website and easily found by doing any type of Google research. Hey guys, 1 second. Let me see. I see brothers hopping in here. Trav, I think you were here before. Medical discharge for bilateral posterior tendonitis and bilateral stress reactions. Have you already applied or are you considering applying? Give me a little bit of context. Let me know what's going on with that one. But if you're considering applying, absolutely bilateral is the way to go. Especially if you're like me, where you overdo it on your good side because of your bad side. So my bad side is my left side, but I overdo the right side because of it, and it causes more issues on my right side as well. That is considered a bilateral issue. So with those types of things, you absolutely want to make sure that you apply for bilateral because it just makes sense, especially in the long run. It just makes more sense. What up, Brian? What up, Brian? Real Brian, good to see you again. I love when you guys come back. I love when you guys come back because it lets me know that I'm actually doing something worthy and worth it. So I'm glad that you guys come back. Good evening. I filed fully developed claim last Tuesday. You told me you were taking a break. You were waiting a little bit. You were going to actually file. So currently in step 2. Congratulations. Wait until you get to step 7 and they send you back to step 5. Or they send you back to step 3. Oh, even worse. Good times. And I'm going to make sure that I stay on your comments tonight because I truly do want to get into the meat and potatoes of our conversation tonight, which is our VA DBQ, and not just reading it, but understanding it. And one spot in particular, one that I consider, knock on wood, a 100% qualifying symptom that a lot of you do not consider in your day-to-day lives. Oh, you guys got way too many comments in here. 51 comments already. Somebody spamming me. What's going on here? Let me try to catch up. Oh, it's me. Oh, you guys are liking and sharing. Oh, okay. I appreciate it. Thank you kindly. Mr. 2.0. Good to see you again, brother. Always, always. Now, I'm trying to branch out into the YouTube side of this to see where it goes. We'll see how it goes. I see you doing big things out there. So definitely trying to catch up to you. But we're going to get into it tonight, guys. Let's really talk about it, right? Because GG, I have my mental health CMP this Wednesday. I filed my appeal for TDIU. Fingers crossed. I always ask you guys, if you are getting ready to go into a CMP exam, reach out to me. Email me at dhelpsvets@gmail.com. I will sit and help you prep and understand this examination because that's exactly what it is. You are getting ready to go to an examination, an exam. And if you don't know what's on that test, how do you plan on passing it? You got to really sit down and study a bit before you walk into the exam. So let's talk about it. Going in on Wednesday, fingers crossed. You don't have to cross your fingers so much. Message me. We'll talk about it. And then also, let's see, Trev just filed for Morton's, ooh, and left foot amongst other stuff. I hope that you guys, when it comes to the orthopedics, thank you, Armin. Thank you guys for the follows, the likes, and the shares as well. Because we got to be able to get this information out to each other. How are you truly supposed to know how to pass this test if you don't even know how to read the test to begin with? So let's get into it tonight. Let's really discuss it tonight, because if you've got orthopedic issues, if you've got tests that are coming up, I got to be honest. Honest, the 5-step loop, yeah, stuck in that loop of someone didn't sign off properly, or someone doesn't agree with something else, and you got to go back through the loops again. Always fun, always fun. So, yep, it's a process, Real Brian. Absolutely a true process. That's why we're here, right? Because if you don't understand it, how can you plan on passing it? It's hard to type everything in here. You know, it is, I know. And that's why I tell you guys, email me at dhelpsvets@gmail.com. And so, I mean, it's really simple because my name's in the title. Can't really go too wrong with it. But I'm going to put it in the comments anyway so that you guys can see it, so that we don't get confused. Because I tell you, the context means everything. And until you understand how to truly speak the VA's language, you're not going to get the rating that you truly deserve. So, when did it start? What are your issues and symptoms and severity and frequency? And how does it affect you daily, on a daily basis? And the reason we're going to move past the first parts of that pillar of that triangle and really get into the daily effects is because a lot of you have these daily effects, but you don't consider them daily effects because they are just a part of your overall routine. And unfortunately, when you get to a point where you're so accustomed to just sucking these things up or not taking them into account, you miss the biggest aspects of being rated properly. Case in point, intermittent inability to perform activities on a daily basis, including maintenance of minimal personal hygiene. Now, a lot of you are going to say, what does all that mean? I don't understand. I am studying, oh, hold on, what side am I on? This side. I am going back to school under VRE. And for you guys over here on this side, VRE, I like how it's mirrored here. I'm going to have to fix that in the future so that I can go back to get my bachelor's of elementary education. I enjoy teaching, but in teaching it, well, for one, not understanding the context, but not really being able to sit down and decipher through your issues out of the gate becomes a problem. And if you don't even know the words on the test, how can you plan to pass that test? So let's talk about what it says here. Intermittent. Intermittent. What does intermittent mean? It means off and on, sometimes, never, usually, always, up and down, up and down, up and down. My kids watch a lot of Miss Rachel, so I've learned that song, the up and down and up and down. Don't hold it against me. It's a 1 and 0, off and on, intermittent. It does not happen all the time, but it happens more than enough to justify being closer to always or usually. This is why I say that it falls underneath the 100% category symptom. Because if you don't check off this box, there's no way you're going to get 100% P&T under your mental health rating or your mental health rating. And you would have a hard time getting 70% underneath that mental health rating. So when we talk about it, right? We talk about my haircut. You can see it on the YouTube side. The insomnia that comes along with not sleeping very well. And then, so what things does this lead to in your life when your service connected issues are leading into other aspects? They're bleeding into other aspects. That other aspect is your inability to perform activities on a daily living basis, including maintenance of minimum personal hygiene. How often do you find yourself not showering, not changing your clothes on a regular basis, not just your shirts, your underwear, your socks. You repeat the same clothes. Sometimes you don't even take those clothes off. You sleep in those clothes. Now, a lot of you, because you work, you don't have that issue so much because your job requires that you change clothes, right? But think about this in this way. If you didn't have to, would you? If you didn't have to shower, would you? If you didn't brush your teeth, or if you didn't have to, would you? So the idea of the intermittent inability is most of the time, usually, or maybe even always, if my spouse didn't make me, or if my job did not require, I would not do these things. And I can show you that I wouldn't do these things because, case in point, if I'm on the weekend or if I've taken time off of work because of my service connected issues, I don't do those things. So if you're the type of person, the type of veteran, you wear the same clothes over and over again. You guys go look at my videos. I probably had this shirt on all week. The same thing with my haircut. I wouldn't go get my haircut if my wife didn't finally make me go get my haircut. And even this haircut is pretty bad. I would give it a D minus on the scale of haircuts. Don't judge me. But I say that to say I wouldn't do it if I didn't have to. This is the intermittent inability to follow through on these daily tasks. If someone else didn't make you, you wouldn't. And if you're like a lot of veterans who a lot of times you don't have someone to make you do these things, you don't. You don't. So understand when it comes to the intermittent inability to perform daily living activities, including maintenance of minimum, small, minute. Well, that's not minute, minimal. The bare daily necessities of that personal hygiene you would not do otherwise. So, a lot of you thinking, ugh, you guys are disgusting. You don't change your underwear. You leave on the same clothes every day. You don't shower so much. But you got to understand with the mental health aspect of that, that turns into not just the mental side, but the physical side. I always say the neck bone is connected to the mental health bone. These things manifest themselves in reverse. So, what's going on in your mental health will also manifest itself in the physical. And if you can't make yourself get up to go do these things for days, hours, days, weeks at a time, the mental health aspect also leads into it. So, we talk about these things in threes when it comes to the VA. Your 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 occupational health, your social health, and your hygiene health. And the VA puts a lot of emphasis on your hygienic health. And I appreciate you sending an email. I will follow up with you guys today. I promise you that if you send me an email, I always follow up personally. And thank you for sending an email. I hope to speak to you guys soon. But I tell you this, if you don't understand the test, how can you actually plan on passing it? And until you understand the words that are on this test, how can you tell your story? You really have to think about this like if you're going to go interview with Oprah. I got to be honest, you're taking a test. No one wants to hear you talk about the same thing over and over again. No one wants to hear you whine and complain about your pain. These are humans that you're speaking to. When you go into the CP exam, this is another human being you're talking to. They don't care about your pain. They only care about the function that you're losing due to the pain. They only care about the function that you're losing due to the pain. And if you don't understand how to tell your story properly, how can you actually expect them to rate you properly? So, when did it start? What are your issues and symptoms and severity and frequency? And how does it affect you daily? And if your daily involves not showering, not brushing your teeth, not getting haircuts, The minimum requirement for a human being to take care of themselves, you got to be able to tell the VA the truth. You have to be able to be, you have to be vulnerable enough to tell them the truth so that you get the rating that you truly deserve. All right, so I apologize. I don't mean to miss any of you guys' comments here. Let me get into it. I see that we had a brother or sister say airborne went from 60 to 90. Oh, that dreaded 90%. That dreaded that 90% is a gift and a curse. Uh, because twofold actually, but the worst is that it's not actually 90%. I know we think 90% logically means 90%, but VA math is not 90%. VA math is really 70%, 80%, maybe even 60%. Oh, so at 90%, you might actually still be at 69, 60%, 67, 68. I don't know what the kid's saying. Is it 67? I always forget. I'm terrible with these things. So I also ask you to reach out to me when it comes to you 90 percenters, because it's a horrible place to be. It's the best, worst place to truly be. But I'm more than willing to help you get over that hump. It is a rough patch to be in. Until you're 90% trying to get 100% without TDIU. TDIU is not a bad path to go if you are already out of work. But like I said, we talk about these things in threes when it comes to the VA. We talk about these things in threes. And when we talk about them in threes, we're talking about our hygienic health, our hygiene, like we just had a discussion about. We talk about our social health, how well you do with the people around you, how well you keep relationships, how well you don't keep relationships. And then three, your occupational health. And the VA puts a lot of emphasis on your occupational health simply because if you don't have that money to maintain because you can't keep a job, everything else falls apart as well. The financial part of your life, the financial health, is solely the root of everything. If that falls apart, everything falls apart. So if you're not planning on not working, you still do want to work, or you still continuing to work, TDIU is probably not the way to go. But also understand the strategy to 100% from 90%. It's a gift and a curse. And the way that I explain it, if I had to explain your 90% rating, stay with me here. Stay with me here. It's like our solar system. I try to attribute these things so they make a little bit more sense. If you are at 0%, you're standing on the sun. If you know anything about our solar system, we've got a sun, we got 4 rocky planets, we've got 4 gas giants. And as you, Isha, always, here we go. I'm getting into it tonight, Isha. I'm talking about that DBQ. Again tonight, we're talking about that DBQ. We're digging deep down into one in particular, the intermittent inability to perform activities of daily living, including maintenance of minimum personal hygiene. But when we're talking about your overall rating, if you're at 0%, you're standing on the sun. And as you start to go through the rocky planets, at 40%, you've probably gotten away with murder. You've probably gotten away with a lot of BS. You've been throwing things at the wall, hoping that they stick. And a lot of times they do, simply because the VA is okay with you having a 0 to 40% rating. But once you start to get out past Mars, you know that those gas giants out there, there's nothing to land on. Before you leave Mars, before you get out of the 0 to 40%, if you have not already game planned on passing through those gas giants, you're going to have a hard time once you start to get out to 50%, 70%, 80%, and the most dreaded of them all, 90%. That is the biggest gift and a curse. Because once you get out to 90%, a lot of you find out that Pluto no longer exists. Well, Pluto still exists, but Pluto is no longer considered a planet. There's nowhere for you to land on out there. You're sitting at 90% floating around in space trying to figure out what's next. And if you know anything about VA math, you will know that it is truly somewhere closer to 60%. 70% that you're sitting at. You're going to need to go back and file for a true supplemental that will take you past 50%, sometimes maybe even 60%. It's a horrible math situation, but that's just the way that it is. So when we talk about it, you're out there floating around, you got to rebuild your rocket, you got to rebuild your ship, you got to actually go upgrade your spacesuit because the next place out is Andromeda. The next closest anything is a whole nother solar system. Going from 90 to 100% is like going to a completely different solar system. And that in itself lets you know you got to rebuild everything because what will take you through what has taken you through so far out to 90% will not work on the rest of the way out. You got to replan, you got to regain plan, you got to go back and get it done properly this time. So I say if you're 90%, you don't really plan on doing the TDIU route. You've got either scheduler 100% or you've got TDIU. Oh, I'm sorry, or you've got PNT. And then if you're at scheduler, you're going to come back up for another exam because the VA is going to say, we need to reschedule you to make sure that you have not gotten any better. Or the PNT, which is, you've never even been to Andromeda. What's out there? What planet is out on Andromeda? Are you landing back on the sun again when you get out there? What's out in Andromeda? You got to game plan. You got to prepare yourself to actually get to that 100%. And if you don't plan properly, you're going to continue to fail. Throwing things at the wall does not work with the VA. You truly must have a game plan ready and prepared. So we're talking about one small aspect of 100% PTSD, which is the intermittent inability to perform daily activities or daily living activities. Who takes care of you? Who helps you with your daily activities? And I always must emphasize the neck bone is connected to the mental health bone. So when we're talking about our mental health issues, what physical things do they manifest themselves in? Do you have lower back issues like I do? Because if you're like me, you always got your TENS unit somewhere around. You got your lidocaine, your Tiger Balm somewhere around. You got your medications from the VA somewhere around. But who else helps you physically? If you can't wash your back, if you can't tie your shoes or put your pants on, who helps you? Think about this in this aspect. If you can't do these things intermittently, you're up and down, who normally helps you when you're down? Is it your spouse, a family member? Do you not ask anyone at all? Do you just power through these days and say, I'm just not going anywhere. I'm just not going to get out of bed. I'm just not going to go to work today. I'm just not going to do what I would normally do. This is the definition of intermittent inability to perform activities of daily living. It covers not just grooming, smelling bad because you don't want to shower, you don't want to shave, not just mentally, but physically, you can't do these things. You can't bring your arm high enough to physically shave yourself or you can't bend over to put your shoes on. So you're like me, you don't even have laces in your shoes. You wear Crocs everywhere. But it's not just about the grooming aspect or the laundry aspect of changing your clothes, being able to change your clothes mentally or physically, but it's also about your environment as well. It's also about not being able to care about cleaning. The house looks like a pigsty, is what my grandma used to say. It looks like a pigsty in here. You can't physically make yourself do the normal things that people would do. Not just mentally, but physically. You can't get out of bed to clean. You can't get out of bed. You can't bend over to do the dishes. Your back won't allow you to pick your children up. Your back won't allow you to do the laundry. It won't allow you to do the dishes. So someone else must do this for you. And if someone else is doing this for you, that is the definition of aid in attendance. This is why the VA sees this one particular as being a symptom, of 100% P&T. So you got to listen when it comes to these things. It's not just an overall arching PTSD issue, it's the symptoms and issues within that PTSD. So, what do we say when we walk in? When did it start? What are my issues and symptoms and severity and frequency? And how does it affect you daily? You got to be able to put these things together. When you walk in and the examiner starts to ask you these questions, you are telling the examiner about your worst day. You're talking to Oprah, and Oprah wants to know the book that you wrote. Oprah does not care about what you ate this morning. Oprah does not care about the movie that you watched last night. Oprah wants to know about your worst day. This is not you exaggerating the situation. This is you telling Oprah, if I forgot to take my medication last night, no matter what it is, the next day may as well get chucked out like the baby in the bathwater because I won't even start it. If you can get me to get out of bed because not just the physical aspect of, the mental aspect of it, but the physical aspect of it won't allow me to get going. It takes me 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get out of bed. Once I do finally crawl out of bed and take my meds, it's still a crapshoot. It's a 50-50 proposition of them even working to begin with. And then I just write my boss, I call my boss, I email my boss, I text my boss, I'm not coming in today. Y'all can all kick rocks. I'm not having it. I'm not doing it because I can't. I just can't. So with these things being said, if you're not able to explain yourself properly, you're not going to get the rating you deserve. Simply because no one at the VA cares about your pain. I know it hurts to hear, but no one at the VA cares about your pain. They only want to know the function that you have lost. And if you can't explain that function within a 10%, 30%, 50%, 70%, or 100% aspect, you're not going to get the rating that you deserve. So thank you guys. Like I said, you got to be able to explain yourself. You got to learn the VA's language. You got to learn how to talk to these guys because if you don't, they're going to hold these things against you. A lot of us go in thinking that this situation is like a Willy Wonka golden ticket, that you walk in the door, you pull a stamp off the wall, you sit down and wait your turn to get your 100%. And that is simply not the case. This is law. The VA, the guys at the VA are required to rate you by law. And regardless of what you feel like you should be rated for, if you're not explaining yourself properly, how can you be? How can you be? You gotta learn how to not take that stoicism in with you that you've learned through your active duty time. You got to reverse it and learn how to be a bit more vulnerable and tell the truth in these aspects in this situation for your VA rated claim. So, guys, I got to be honest. Since we started working with the up and down desk, this stuff ain't working. This ain't it. I got to be able to sit down here because I thought being able to stand was going to be a good thing, but I can clearly see that that's not going to be the case for a very long time. I still got my TENS unit on, but it is still a pain to stand that long. And please don't mind all the stuff in the background on my board. It's my personal stuff, but like I say, I never sugarcoat anything around here. I tell the truth in every aspect. So when it comes to me going back to school, I am going back for my bachelor's of education, elementary education. But I am also working on my credit score. When I left the US, the States, I'm going to bring this down a bit. When I left the States, I went scorched earth. I sold everything and I got out of Dodge within 30 minutes. And then, so of course, that meant all of the toys that I'd accumulated while I was there, I kind of just gave back to the dealer, and that screwed over my credit. So now that I'm planning on truly using my VA loan, I got to fix my credit. You know, we all, I don't want to call it a mistake. It worked for me at the time and it was necessary. But now I got to go back and fix it. And this is why I say, when it comes to self accountability, a lot of times you guys just got to be self accountable. Honestly, if you have not filed properly, if you keep getting denied simply because you don't know what's on the test and how to prepare, if you don't know what medical evidence you need to turn in, you keep getting denied and telling you that it's not service connected, you got to take some responsibility. You got to learn how to go get that evidence. And I tell you, if you're having a hard time understanding, not just reading, but truly understanding, reach out to me, because this is exactly what I'm here for. My name is D, and I am a 100% PNT rated veteran. And my entire goal, my mission, my passion is to make sure that every veteran gets the rating that they truly deserve. And so I hope that you guys sit here with me tonight. Like I said, man, let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're at in your journey, because I want to make sure that you get to the mountaintop, as well. Philip, what's up, guys? And Trey, is it Trey? I'm so bad with these. I read them and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm talking about. I prep notes about my issues before my appointment because I have severe. Travis, okay, that makes sense. Kind of like what's the one that's having the issues right now? David, like David, is that what it is? Thank you, I appreciate the follows. Thank you, Kylie. Travis, but what's up, Trav? I tell you, when it comes to the notes, the severe ADHD, I'm the exact same. Right? Yeah, David, the singer David, but he kind of abbreviates his name so it looks like David or something like. I'm old, man. Don't listen to me. Listen to the VA part of it, though. When it comes to understanding, especially at CMP exams, if you have memory issues like I do, writing them down is the best thing you can do for yourself. I write down everything because I'm never going to remember it. No matter how much I tell myself, I'm going to remember this. The second I stand in front of the doctor and we start talking about something, I go completely off track. If you guys have followed me in any capacity, shape, or form, you will know that I start going off on tangents and I forget exactly what the hell I'm talking about. I got to circle back around and come back to it. The easiest way to make these things go right for yourselves at these CMP exams is to write it down. If there's any nugget I can give you, 3 nuggets. Let me give you 3 nuggets. And let me back up just a little bit. The first nugget is, do not miss your exam for any reasons whatsoever. We as veterans, for some reason, think that if we just don't show, it won't matter, that they'll just reschedule for us, or if we just disappear and don't say anything, that will make everything okay. I promise you. Hey, I don't like to use government names, but I see you listed here. Hey, Neil, good to see you, brother. I tell you that if you are going into a CMP exam, the worst thing you can do for yourself is to miss that exam. They will hold it against you. They do not care what reason you missed that exam. If you did not call and cancel or reschedule, you are on strike 3 immediately. The first nugget is, do not miss your CMP exam. Go to your CMP exam. Don't care how far away it is. I don't care if you asked for a man and they gave you a woman. Go to your CMP exam. They will hold it against you. Okay, the second part of you going to this exam is, if you're like me, you're going to forget. You think you're going to walk in and you're going to say, I know exactly what I'm going to say. And you won't. No, you won't. Write it down. Because it only lends in 2 parts to your memory issues. If you can't remember things and you're talking to the examiner and the examiner says, well, you sound like you had everything you wanted to say anyway. How are you talking about you got memory issues if you're telling the examiner 100% of the things? Don't those things contradict themselves in a way? Write it down. Write it down. That's the second nugget. Because you've got 9 pages of DBQ here for your mental health. You think you're going to remember all that? Do you think you're going to remember every story that you want to talk about to the examiner? Write it down. Write it down. So that's number 2. Don't miss your exam. Write it down. And before I get into number 3, I want to see. I see you guys are messaging. You're SMCL. I am SMCS. I am SMCS. And then if you guys don't understand SMCs, I'm not going to get into it tonight. Email me. I will explain to you special monthly compensation. You should prevent with the nexus letter we have to do with CMP exam. You cannot escape your CMP exam. 99% of you are going to go to a CMP exam with the VA. There's only a handful of you that are going to get ACE, ACE, where they say you've got more than enough medical evidence to prove your claim or disprove your claim. We're going to adjudicate this without you going to an exam. The majority of you are going to go to a CMP exam. So just be prepared for that, regardless of what your nexus letter says. Also, to caveat off of that, the VA will send you to an exam with a nurse practitioner, the lowest level rung of professionals. You can go to a PhD doctor and they'll say, well, we're going to side with our nurse practitioner over your PhD. That's a completely another issue all in itself for that nexus letter being denied because the VA loves to chuck barrels at you with every aspect of your claim. We'll get into that another day. Trav, I've had an amazing job that allows me to P&T, and that's good. You know, when you're working in a protected environment, I worked in a protected environment for 4 years in Arizona for Cox Communications. And my boss allowed me to get away with the most egregious BS simply because I was working in a protected environment. My migraines, my PTSD, my short-term memory span, my not following through on tasks, complex tasks, they kept me for 4 years. And not only did they keep me, they hired me in full-time. Some of us work in protected environments. That is not a reason for the VA to deny you. You can go to your employer and ask your employer to write a letter for you, to write a buddy letter, a lay statement, stating what your issues are. So that can also lend to your medical evidence as well. Okay, so if the doctor misses it, you don't get denied. At least I don't think they do. I hope not. But if you miss it, you absolutely will be denied. That is strike 3 out of the gate, missing a CMP exam. And then I did say, so number 3, because I see you guys have got a few more comments here, and you have a TBI question. Beastwick, please ask your questions. Please ask your questions, especially about TBI. Number 3 of the nuggets is that you're talking to a human. You're getting ready to walk in and speak to another human being. And this human being has been doing this for a while. If you walk in with the idea of exaggerating your issues, if you walk in with the belief that you're going to malinger and get away with a lot of things that you never really had in your past, but you allowed a third-party company to write your nexus letter and to copy and paste a lot of bullshit from a lot of other veterans who truly have had that problem and just put your name into it, you're going to get caught. And I promise you the reason for that is and I'm talking to YouTube as well, is because these people as human beings have been doing this all day, every day. They sit in front of veterans and they do this over and over again. So for the ones that try to malinger and exaggerate, they're going to know. They're going to know. When was the last time you ever had your parent, when you tried to slide something past them and they didn't truly know? You'll hear people say, "Well, walk in with canes, walk in a wheelchair." How do you walk in a wheelchair? But to come in and look worse than you actually are, take this seriously. Tell the truth. If you don't normally brush your teeth, if you don't normally shower, if you don't normally shave, if you normally walk with a cane, if you normally have help with these things, tell the truth. but let them know that this is an intermittent thing. No human is 100% balled up in a ball all day, every day. Everybody comes out on a blue moon occasion. This is what we mean when we say intermittent. A lot of times you can be down, 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 down. But every now and again, you will have an update. That's just the way it is. You can be a chronic 9, but every now and again, you can be on a 5. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Tell the truth. These people are humans too. They know when you're exaggerating. Don't. Number 3, when you walk in, you're talking to a human. Don't exaggerate. Don't malinger. Tell the truth. You will forget what you said when you lie. You can't forget the truth. That's my spiel. I hope you're still out there, brother. What's up? Neil, my CP exam was being done by AI. You know, there's so many of those third-party examiners out there, Neil. Hopefully you get a good one. A lot of times you won't. Just the way it works. But unless you are prepared, practice makes progress. I always say practice makes progress. Prepare yourself for the test so that the barrels that they chuck at you can only be so barrelly. I guess, you know, the barrels that they chuck at you can only be so barrelly. Prepare. Get prepared to go poke the bear. That's it. Let's see. Say I have bad knees. Oh, what's up, Beast? You still out there, brother? You had a question about your TBI. I really want to get into the TBI aspect. I really want to get into the TBI aspect of the PTSD because a lot of us don't understand the TBI side of it. There are two different PTSD DBQs. 90% of us are going to use the general DBQ. The 10% of us out there, and I'm just arbitrarily throwing out numbers so you understand the difference, are going to fall under TBI, traumatic. Here, I don't know what I can say on TikTok sometimes. I get these bans all of a sudden, they pop up and say, you can't say these things. TBI and MST, military trauma with an S in between and X's. They fall under their own category of PTSD, but it is still the same umbrella. They have their own shoot off under PTSD, but they still fall under the same umbrella. So if you are going in for TBI, but you are already rated for PTSD, you more than likely are not going to get an increase in your claim. If you're already 70% for PTSD and you're going back for TBI, you have to get to 100% to get an increase. What purpose is there for that? The VA sees that as pyramiding because all mental health falls under the same umbrella. Now you say then, well, I'm having more issues. More things have happened since then. My TBA has gotten worse. My TBI has gotten worse. My MST flashbacks issues have gotten worse. That's different. That's a supplemental claim. That is a supplemental claim to say my medications are doing this. I'm taking medications for my TBI, but now it's doing this to me. It's causing the GERD. It's causing the IBS. It's causing my flat feet. It's causing my ED. It's causing my whatever it may be. But those are supplemental claims. That is not you going back asking for an increase in your primary claim because the VA sees these things as pyramiding. You can't pyramid. So if it falls underneath the same service-connected issue, the biggest being mental health, PTSD, you can't pyramid. So I hope if you're going back for TBI that is your first mental health claim. If it is not, no worries, but understand that you're probably not going to get an increase if you're already, especially at 70%, because getting to 100% PTSD is a very daunting task. But if you're going back and you're saying, the medications that I take for my PTSD are making this worse, the isolation that I have is making this worse, the TBI has made it worse, then that's something completely different. All right, so I have PTSD, but not service connected yet. And I prescribe medication from the VA. Does this count? It does in a way, but not the way that you think it does. If you are not diagnosed, it does not count. It does not matter if the VA is giving you meds. If the doctor has not diagnosed you, it does not count. So if you're going to the VA and you're getting medications for ED, but you're not diagnosed for ED, it does not matter. If you have PTSD and you're not diagnosed, doesn't matter if you're going to get medical from the VA, you have no diagnosis. Just because you've heard about chest, and the VA says, we're going to give you some pieces for your chessboard, you must still have a chessboard to begin with. Until some doctor, not you, you can't get your own chessboard, a doctor must give you a chessboard. You can go to a specialist, someone that specializes in PTSD, a psychiatrist, a psychologist. If you have migraines, you can go to a neurologist and have that doctor give your baby a name. You know you have a baby on the way. You may actually have birthed that baby, but you can't name your baby P90X. You're not Elon Musk. Your doctor must name your baby. Your doctor must give you that chessboard. And until you are diagnosed, until it is in your records as being diagnosed, it does not count. Go get diagnosed. Now, a lot of you, while you were in service, didn't get diagnosed, which is why a lot of you get denied for not service connected. Because even though you went to the doctor while you were in service, and it is in your records as having gone to the doctor while you were in service, no one ever gave your baby a name. You went to the doctor while you were in service, you were having headaches. The doctor knew you actually had migraines. The doctor never told you you have migraines. The doctor just threw Tylenol 3, ibuprofen, whatever else at you, and sent you about your way. So when you ask, just because you've been prescribed, just because you talk to the doctor, just because you know what you think you should call it, someone must name your baby. You got to go talk to a specialist and have someone give your baby a name. What's the time difference? I want to reach out because I've got a question, Isha. It is 8:52 a.m. for me right now. Almost 9 a.m. Can you see all that sun coming in? Can you guys see all the sun, Mr. Golden Sun? So just think of me being 12. Actually, you guys are daylight savings time. You're 13 hours. So I know for me, if it's 9 right now, then that means you are still on the 23rd. Yep, some of you are 12. If you're on the West Coast, you're 11. So I know it's your 23rd at night. So whereas I normally would be out and about trying to get things done, I wanted to make sure that I was here with you guys this morning because I know it's your nighttime. That's why I come on these nights. Yep, almost 9. So usually I'm up about 3 or 4, but my brain doesn't really cycle on until about 5. So that's 5 p.m. your time, the day before. So if I'm talking to you at my 5 a.m. on a Monday, it is 5 p.m. more than likely Eastern or 6 p.m. Eastern the day before. So don't worry about hit me up. Just hit me up. We'll schedule a time that works best for you. I've got a calendar as well, but I don't point you guys to my calendar because I charge for my calendar. $17. I charge for my calendar. If you want to get on the calendar, it costs $17. Because I found that when veterans hop on a free calendar, a lot of you treat me like the VA and you just don't show. And that's the BS. So if you want to get on the calendar, you got to pay 17 bucks to hop on the calendar, and then we'll sit down and talk about your specific claim and overall rating and what your path should be. But I'm here for free right now. If you got your questions, that's why I'm here to answer, because I also want to make sure that some of you who don't really need the white glove treatment actually still get the help that you need by, being here so that I can help you with it. So Isho Cat will, too many numbers confuse me if it ain't money. I get you. No, I hear you. No worries. Like I say, D helps vets. Let me put it in here again. Let's see. D helps vets at gmail.com. Doesn't cost you a thing. dhelpsvets@gmail.com. Doesn't cost you a thing. Email me. I will email you back. And then from that point, if you want to sign up, $17 for the calendar, and we'll get into it. We'll get into the true aspects of it. And like I say, I never sugarcoat anything. I will always tell you the truth up front. If you do decide that you want to work with me personally after we're done with our calendar event, $347 is what I charge in the door all the way through the rest of your day, or all the way through the rest of your claim, regardless if you're at 0% or already at 100%. If you're stuck at the dreaded 90, if you just got into the game and they gave you that BS 30%, you know it should have been higher, but you don't know what to do, $349. And there is no, I didn't get my rating, let's try again, pay more. No, if you're at 0 and you got to 50 and you feel like you deserve more, we will continue on until you get the rating that you truly deserve. I don't believe in charging veterans $15,000 for their claims. I don't believe in free either, because what I find out with VSOs is that when you have no skin in the game, what true motivation do you have? So I never harp against VSOs. I never tell you not to use a VSO, but you have to think about it like you're taking your car to the dealership. You can choose who you want to work on your vehicle. You can take your car back to the dealership and ask them to work on it, but you're gonna pay dealership prices. You can take your car to a mom and pop shop down the road, just out of college mechanic who's just trying to get his feet wet and learn how to fix cars for free, like a VSO. Or you can go to a third party who wants to charge you $15K to walk through a claim that they know doesn't truly cost $15K. So I say you choose who you want helping with your claim, because at the end of the day, until you take self-accountability and understand just the smallest minute part of what goes on into your claim, you can't be taken advantage of. No one can lead you down a gullible path if you know when they start shooting smoke up your ass, what smoke smells like. It's just a simple concept. So when I say, if you want to work with me, please, by all means, come talk to me. I am here to assist you every step of the way, and it will be $347. That's it. So, guys, reach out to me. If you've got questions otherwise, I'm always free. Sitting here. I will be on TikTok on Sundays. Excuse me, TikTok on Sundays here at this time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard for YouTube live. I will also be here on Wednesdays. I call them self-accountability wins. If you know anything about it, Saw Wednesdays, pop, pop, pop. I used to carry that saw. If you know anything about it, self-accountability wins on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. And then we get into the thick of it on TikTok. Excuse me. We get into the thick of it on YouTube. On Tactical Thursdays. Because I want to truly be able to sit down with your claim in real time and talk about it for your benefit, not for the group's benefit, for you specifically, so that you get the rating that you truly deserve. Because everybody's got a fingerprint, but everybody's fingerprint is different. And until you figure out your fingerprint exactly, you're never going to get the rating that you truly deserve. So I invite you guys to sit down with me Sunday nights on TikTok and on YouTube, on Wednesdays on TikTok and YouTube Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Thursdays strictly on YouTube, so that you guys can get the rating that you truly deserve. Because if you can't tell, when it comes to the context of your claim, it takes a little bit more, especially for me, because my brain doesn't work. My brain does not work very well when it comes to reading text. I take everything way out of proportion. So if you hop in on the YouTube, I will be more than willing to assist you. And then we're back on Fridays as well. So guys, email me, reach out to me, send me a DM. Send me a DM, straight DM. And look out for me on YouTube and TikTok as well, because I am here to help you every step of the way. And I hope that this helped you tonight. And if you guys have got some CMP exams, reach out to me as well, because I would love to be able to help you prep. And I'm going to step out, get ready to go, because, yeah, my back is done on this one. This chair is rock hard. I bought it. I hoped that it would be softer. It's just as bad as sitting on the floor. Got to get a new chair. Got to really put some money into a good cushion chair. Please reach out to me, guys. I hope to be able to assist you again in the future. Thank you for being here with me tonight. I look forward to assisting you more in the future. Take TikTok. Take care of yourself, guys. Peace.